Maybe you're thinking about buying a used camera, or you've got a camera sitting around the house and it's not quite performing the way you thought. Well, I've got this lens and it's costs somewhere between $400 and $600 depending on who you ask. Anyway, it's got some issues. I'll put up a thing right here where I compared it against another lens of similar size. But I thought we'd just tear it apart, see what's going on. I'd say there's a maybe less than 5% chance that I can actually fix this thing. But let me turn off the lights and I will show you what caused the issue I just showed you. We'll take this UV lens and kind of run it across here. You see that? Yeah. Actually, that's kind of what my eye looks like when I had cataracts. But you see that fogginess on the element? Yeah. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's, you know, definitely what they call haze and fog, but it could be also something they call balsam separation, where the elements of the lens are separating into different pieces. It could be fungus. I've had this lens cleaned, and on the back side I had fungus taken out. It was on the last element in there, and you can see it's not there anymore. It doesn't show up. But yeah, some other things that can happen are, of course, if you're looking to buy a lens, there are scratches you can have on the rear element are the worst, but you can have them on the front element, and it will cause, you know, a little bit of degradation in the contrast and sharpness of the images. You can have large dust down inside there. Sometimes, depending on which element it's on and how you've got it zoomed or focused or whatever, it can cause images. Fungus, as I mentioned before, you can have damaged threads out here, and that makes a lens uninteresting if you're buying it used. The electrical contacts on the back can be damaged. These are on these newer lenses. And then the aperture blades, which we can barely see back in there. But yeah, you really have to check those by mounting it on the camera and working it. And then two other things that can go bad are the focus. So this one has a manual focus ring right here. And then it also has a zoom. And those things can go bad. So if you're going to buy a used lens, that's something to check on. And they need to work, if they're automatic or manual, they need to work in those applicable modes. Okay, so let's do the deed and start unscrewing this thing and see what's going on inside there. No idea where to start on this thing. The last lens I took apart, I think, was in the mid 1970s, maybe. And I have no idea what I'm going to find under here. I think the big trick is going to trying to keep my hands out of the way so you can see what's happening. Wow, that was really in there. Somebody intended that one never, ever to come out. Oh yeah, there we go. One, two, three. Oh, we got a retainer ring. Okay, that's interesting. I see. So that didn't do a whole lot. That didn't free up anything, and it didn't really expose anything. So we'll go for the outside screws. Wow. Somebody intended for this never to be opened. Yep, I'm stripping it. It's a good thing you can't see my face right now. I'm making weird expressions, as one does when one is doing tool stuff. I'm going to remove the lens cap. I'll have to refocus. There we go. Oh yeah. And unfortunately, all three of those screws are the same. Now, maybe I should mark this. I will, let's see what we got. I will put a small nick somewhere. Maybe on this strange little thing right here, and I'll nick the side. Well, okay, something's hanging. Try moving stuff. So here we have like a silicone spacer. We have a ribbon connector which attaches right there. Around on this side, what do we have? Oh, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything on this end to allow me to open that up. I wonder if this thing pops out of there. There's something holding it in. If I start taking too long, I will put this on pause and take a look. Aha! Right there is a screw, a very tiny screw. Okay, set that aside. Okay. And it snaps right back into place. That'll teach me. Maybe. If you've never tried to video yourself doing something like this, you should, just for the experience. It is awesome. Yeah, trying to keep everything on camera, and a lot of times you end up working through the viewfinder, which is, yeah, that's an experience. Okay, so one of the things this lens is not doing is it's not focusing to infinity automatically. You can physically do it, but, oh, that's interesting. From a electrical standpoint, it won't do it. Oh, there's a nice hole right there. I thought these were sealed to prevent fungus from getting in. Let's see if I can make sure. Can you see the inside part moving there? Yeah. And some interesting stuff going on. No idea. Looking for screws again. 1, 2, okay. And anything under there? Yes, of course. Oh, and a lot more along a lot more here. It's probably going to go out of focus as it gets too deep. But I wonder at what point this becomes a one-way excursion where I don't get it back together. Come on, hand, cooperate. And where did that little screw go? Oh man. There we are. And here comes the upper element. This had fungus growing on it at one time, and in fact I can see where it used to be right in there. So it did actually scar the element of the lens. Let me see if I can show you that. No, it's not showing up. It just looks like a lightning strike or something on there, like a fuzzy smudge. But anyway, yeah, I don't think this lens is recoverable. If they couldn't clean it off of there professionally, that's kind of not good. You can tolerate a scratch on the front element of a lens and it won't degrade it too badly, but when you start having stuff on the rear element, like this thing, yeah, the lens is done. So yeah, I'm declaring this a one-way trip, because finding like a rear element to replace it with and all that. And my guess is, from what I showed you earlier about this piece being foggy, this movable element up in here, yeah, I'm pretty sure this lens has been munched on by too much stuff to make it recoverable. Okay, make sure I stay in focus. So I'll just speed it up, because again, I'm not even going to try to put it back together. It's just too damaged. So this is one of the things you want to look for when you're buying a used lens, or even a new lens, I guess, is make sure you don't have anything that looks like little internal smudges, because that is fungus, and fungus actually attacks, it will attack the glass over time, but it will certainly attack the coating on the lens first. And you know, if you get the coating messed up, well, you know, who's going to pay to recoat a lens these days? In the old days, lenses were terribly expensive. Back when I was working in a camera store, you could actually send a lens in and have it recoated. But I mean, yeah, this lens is valued somewhere in the $400 to $500 range when it's new, but used, I think they go in the like $100 and some range. It's not, yeah, and to have it recoated would probably cost you more than a brand new lens. Okay, what am I missing? I'm missing a screw somewhere. There's that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, in the old days, when I was a kid, we didn't have all this here fancy electronic stuff in our lenses. We just had plain old simple lenses. Oh, okay. So that's that ring right there. A lot of stuff going on down inside here. There's a screw. And there's a screw. And we can see the mechanism. That's the manual focus. And let me see if I can hold this thing still so I can do the... That's just some of the mechanism. Now what this electronic stuff is doing, this lens does not have the automatic stabilization, but it does have the electric aperture, and of course it has the autofocus feature. So that's what a lot of this stuff is doing. And these contacts here, I should have explained that. These contacts are how the lens communicates with the camera. So yeah, let me grab some tweezers or something over here so I can extract the cable. There we go. There we go. Okay. One and two. This is not an official way to properly remove a cable. But again, this is a one-way trip with this lens, so sadly it will find a new life doing something else. Okay. Forceps nurse. There we go. Okay, so what do we got going on here? A few chips. Few chips. And wow, those are way too small for me to see. Connectors, more chips over here, resistors, capacitors, stuff like that. Oh, yeah, and then serious chips back here on this side. That's an inductor. Yeah, okay, some little tiny inductors, it looks like. Okay. Get that out of the way, make sure we're still in focus. Go through the next layer of this thing. Let's see if we can, there you go, now you can see the lens operating. This is kind of weird because it goes in and out. So it's like minimum and then maximum, and it goes down in between. Of course, in older lenses, it would just go out as you zoomed. It would just the lens would get longer. And that's that. Some more screws here. Yeah, kind of sad to. Somebody once said I'm so tight that I squeak when I walk, so it makes me sad to have to toss away something like this. But I was talking about fungus early on. One of the ways you can prevent fungus is if you get condensation inside of a lens, that's a bad thing. That's when it starts growing. And we saw that these lenses are not sealed. There's air that can pass through there. So yeah, I mean, fungus spores will get in there, and then if you give them the right opportunity, like a nice damp, dark space, they will begin to grow. And if you don't catch it right away and have it cleaned, they chew on your lens coatings and even down into the glass. Some of them are kind of like the what do you call those things that eat rocks? Okay, the brain slipped. Yeah, the algae. It's a combination of algae and something else that eats rocks, and this stuff will basically do the same thing to your, looks like a sensor, to your glass elements. The coatings on the lenses are oftentimes magnesium fluoride or whatever, and it's a very soft compound, and so they can really chomp on it, make it a mess pretty quickly. Okay, it doesn't want to come out of there. I'm really curious as to what this thing is. Get it back in the center, what that thing is right there. And what else we have going on? Nope, that doesn't want to come out of there. Okay, I'm running out of screws. I guess we'll start on these side screws. I have a feeling I know what these do. I think these are the things that contain the zooming part of the lens. I see a screw that's half hidden right there. And there's our fogged element that I showed you earlier with the UV light. Okay, let me take a break here and examine this off camera and see what I have to attack next. Back again. I think I've got it figured out. These silver things in here are bearings, and when I remove them, the center lens element should come out of there. Well, or something should. Oh, there we go. So the collar comes out of there, comes off of there. Yeah, so it was on there like this, comes off of there. Focus ring, I don't know. Not sure what's going on there, but let's see what happens with the center element. Is it going to come out of there yet? No. No, I'm really curious as to what is going on over here on this thing. This is, I'm 99% sure that's a sensor, position sensor. And wow, may have to stop again already and figure this out so I don't waste your time. This is also obviously the manual focus sensor. And what else is going on here? Nothing that I see right off. Oh, maybe it goes this way. Or maybe not. No, I'm limited by that thing and that thing. And it's really greasy now. Okay, another stop and another discovery. Let's see. I got this thing moving. I believe that this. I had it out of there more a while ago. There we go. So the front element pops out of there. And yeah, that's not looking the clearest. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of problem right there. First of all, I just smudged it, but I can see some haze down inside there on this element. So yeah, this was the right call. This was not going to be repairable, and yeah, just so sad to see so much technology and some engineers, scientists, whatever, spent a lot of time designing this thing, building it, manufacturing. People stood on the assembly line and made it. Okay, what's next? This piece should, at some point, move. It is now jammed. Okay. It's trying to go the wrong way. There that is. There seem to be spring-loaded things right in here. 1, 2, 3 of those. This is the element that I showed you earlier that was foggy under the UV light. And I still can't reach that. Can't reach that. My guess is this must go out through the front somehow. Oh, okay. So this piece comes out of there. It is on this right there. Okay, so let's look at this back piece. I think it's pretty much disassembled. Oh, okay. Can we see down in there? That, the silver thing, is the top of the focusing motor. And you can see the gear down in there that it acts on. Pivots that. Okay. So yeah, we're pretty much done with this. Let's give this a look over. See what's going on here. Wow, another little actuator. And again, that's the foggy lens. Yeah, I can see stuff on it now. And, okay, so this is the part of the self-focusing mechanism. And it doesn't move very far. That's the wonderful thing about electronics. You can position stuff terribly accurately. And I don't know if you can see that. See that coppery color? It is a linear actuator. So, it's okay. And there's another electromagnet that is moving the lens. So, yeah, I think I'm probably gonna call it a wrap at this point. There's not much left to see. This thing doesn't really disassemble anymore. This might be a little bit more disassembly here. I'll take a look at that quickly and see if we can do that. But otherwise, we have pretty much stripped this thing down to its components. Okay, and finally, I did get this pin to move out of the way, so I can remove this. I got been grabbed by a magnet right there. Oh, and another magnet. Yes. So we have two pretty ferocious magnets right there that are steering this focusing lens. And then we can see the electronics that move this little lens around over the top of this. Yeah, okay, so I think that pretty much concludes this teardown of an automated lens. Not like they used to be like back in the 1970s when I last tore one apart. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful and interesting in your photography, or just maybe just general curiosity.